Your gut is damaged right now, and you are probably paying someone to fix it with a capsule filled with a dried plant. That same plant grows in sidewalk cracks for free. The supplement industry makes $68 billion hoping you never figure that out. And by the end of this video, you will know how to build a gut healing pharmacy on one balcony using 20 plants the industry prays you never find. Walk into any pharmacy in North America tonight. Find the digestive health aisle. Pick up the first bottle you see, turn it around, read the ingredients: slippery elm bark, marshmallow root extract, ginger powder, peppermint oil, turmeric concentrate, dandelion root. These are not synthetic chemicals engineered in a laboratory. These are plants, dried plants, ground up plants, plants that someone harvested from a field, dehydrated in a factory, packed into a capsule, sealed in a bottle, shipped across an ocean, marked up 800 to 2,000% and placed on a shelf next to a price tag that assumes you will never learn what you are about to learn. The global digestive health crisis is real. Over 40 million Americans deal with chronic constipation. Irritable bowel syndrome affects 1 in 7 people on Earth. Acid reflux prescriptions have tripled in the last 20 years. Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis are increasing in every industrialized country, especially among younger populations. The gut lining of the average Western adult is more inflamed, more permeable, and more microbially depleted than at any point in recorded medical history. People feel it. The bloating after meals, the cramping that comes and goes without pattern, the fatigue that no amount of sleep seems to fix. The doctors say reduce stress. The supplement companies say take this capsule. Nobody says walk outside and look at what is growing. But that is exactly what we are going to do. 20 plants. Every one of them grows in a container on a balcony. Every one of them targets a specific mechanism inside the digestive tract. Some coat the gut lining like a biological bandage. Some reduce the inflammation that causes the damage in the first place. Some feed the beneficial bacteria that your gut depends on to function. Some stimulate the bile that breaks down the food you eat. And some calm the spasms and the nervous tension that make every other symptom worse. Together they form a complete system. Not a single magic cure, a system. And the first one, the one that coats your entire digestive tract like a protective shield, has been used for over 400 years by people who never needed a gastroenterologist. Slippery elm. The inner bark of this tree does something no pharmaceutical has ever been able to replicate cleanly. When it contacts water, it produces mucilage, a thick slippery gel that coats the stomach walls and the intestinal lining on contact. Picture pouring honey over a raw wound. The gel forms a physical barrier between your damaged tissue and the acid and food passing through. It does not suppress acid production the way antacids do. It does not numb the tissue the way bismuth does. It protects it. Native American nations across the Great Lakes region and the Appalachian Mountains used slippery elm bark as a primary stomach medicine for centuries before European contact. Families would strip the inner bark, dry it, and brew it into a thick drink for anyone with digestive complaints. It was one of the most widely traded medicinal barks on the continent. European settlers learned about it. They used it too. And then the supplement industry turned it into a $15 bottle of capsules, and the original knowledge disappeared from public memory. Slippery elm is a large forest tree that cannot be practically grown or sustained long-term on a balcony to harvest bark. For balcony growing, stick to small potted herbs like peppermint or chamomile. But slippery elm is not the strongest coater on this list. That distinction belongs to marshmallow root, not the candy, the plant. And understanding the difference tells you everything you need to know about how traditional medicine became a product. Marshmallow root contains up to 35% mucilage by dry weight. That is the highest concentration of gut-coating compounds in any commonly available plant on Earth. When you take the dried root and soak it in cold water overnight, the water becomes thick and viscous, almost syrupy. That liquid coats your entire digestive tract, from your esophagus to your colon. Hospital trials in Europe have shown it reduces symptoms of acid reflux and gastritis. Ancient Egyptians figured this out over 3,000 years ago. They combined marshmallow root with honey and used it to soothe sore throats and stomach pain. The preparation was so effective and so pleasant that confectioners eventually started making a sweet version. They whipped the root extract with sugar and egg whites. That was the original marshmallow, the candy, named after the plant it came from. Over time, the candy industry removed the root entirely and replaced it with gelatin and corn syrup. They kept the name, they dropped the medicine. Today you can buy a bag of marshmallows for $2. The plant they were named after costs $18 in capsule form at the supplement store. The actual living plant costs $3 as a starter from a nursery, and it comes back every year. Pink flowers, tolerates neglect, one of the easiest medicinal plants to grow on a balcony. The third coater is one you probably already have in your home, aloe vera. Most people associate aloe with sunburn. You snap a leaf and rub the gel on your skin. Millions of households have one sitting on a kitchen windowsill right now collecting dust between sunburns, doing nothing. But traditional Ayurvedic practitioners in India have been using aloe internally for over 5,000 years. The inner gel contains a compound called asamanin that soothes inflamed intestinal tissue and supports the mucosal lining that protects the gut wall. Clinical research has shown aloe vera juice reduces symptoms in patients with irritable bowel syndrome and ulcerative colitis. In rural villages across Rajasthan and Kerala, families still grow aloe outside their doors and cut fresh leaves when someone has stomach trouble. The plant grows on any sunny windowsill or balcony. It requires almost no water. One mature aloe produces enough gel for daily use indefinitely, and it propagates by producing pups, small baby plants that grow at the base of the mother. You separate them, you pot them, you now have 2 pharmacies instead of 1. The fourth plant in this group is the one that will make you angry when you realize what it is. It grows in sidewalk cracks. It grows in gravel driveways. It grows in compacted soil where nothing else survives. Gardeners across the entire temperate world have pulled it from their lawns and thrown it away without a second thought. It is called plantain, not the banana, the weed, Plantago major, the broadleaf plant with ribbed leaves that appears in every neglected yard from Toronto to Tokyo. Anglo-Saxon texts from over 1,000 years ago listed among the 9 sacred healing herbs. European folk medicine called it the mother of herbs. The leaves contain 3 compounds that work together on the gut. Aucubin reduces inflammation. Allantoin accelerates tissue repair, and mucilage coats the irritated surfaces, a triple function from a single leaf that most people treat as garbage. You have probably walked past it 100 times this month alone. It grows in the poorest soil imaginable. Put it in a pot on your balcony and it will colonize every inch you give it. It self-seeds so aggressively that your only job is to stop throwing it away. Those 4 plants coat your gut like armor, but coating alone does not fix the damage that caused the problem. The next group goes after the inflammation itself, and the first one in this group has been the single most studied anti-inflammatory plant compound of the last 50 years. Turmeric, the bright orange rhizome that has stained the kitchens of India and Southeast Asia for 3,000 years. The active compound is curcumin. While some small studies suggest it may help reduce inflammation, clinical trials show it has low bioavailability on its own, and it should only ever be used as a complementary support, never a replacement for prescribed medical treatments for Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. In India, families consume turmeric every single day, not as a supplement, but as a spice. Golden milk, curries, rice dishes, dal, turmeric is in everything. And the population-level gut health data from regions with high daily turmeric consumption tells a story that the supplement industry would prefer you not notice. You can grow turmeric in a pot on a balcony that gets warmth and sun. Plant a piece of rhizome in spring and harvest in fall. The same pot produces year after year. The rhizome you pull from the soil is fresher and more potent than anything in a bottle. Ginger grows the same way. Same family, same method. Buy a piece of organic ginger root from the grocery store, cut it into sections with visible buds. Plant them 2 inches deep in a wide pot. In 4 months, you have your own supply. Ginger contains gingerols and shogols. These compounds speed up the movement of food through the stomach. They reduce nausea. They calm intestinal spasms. Ginger is one of the few herbal remedies validated for nausea in clinical settings, including post-surgical nausea and morning sickness during pregnancy. Walk through any traditional Chinese medicine shop in San Francisco or Vancouver or Singapore. You will see dried ginger and fresh ginger stored in separate bins. Chinese practitioners treat them as 2 completely different medicines with different properties. Dried ginger warms the interior. Fresh ginger moves stagnation. They match the preparation to the condition. Western supplement companies grind it all together and put it in 1 capsule. That distinction, the one between precision and convenience, tells you why traditional medicine worked for thousands of years and why the modern supplement version so often disappoints. Meadowsweet is the one almost nobody knows about, and that is precisely why it matters. This European wildflower contains salicylates, the same family of compounds that aspirin was derived from. In fact, the word aspirin comes directly from meadowsweet. The old botanical name for the plant was Spirea. In 1897, a German chemist synthesized the compound, and the Bayer Pharmaceutical Company named the product after the plant that contained it. The drug went on to become the most consumed medicine in human history. The plant that inspired it was forgotten. But here is what makes meadowsweet different from the drug it inspired. Synthetic aspirin irritates the stomach lining. That is its most common side effect. Meadowsweet does the opposite. The salicylates in the whole plant come packaged alongside tannins and mucilage compounds that protect the stomach wall while reducing inflammation. Medieval herbalists across England and Central Europe used meadowsweet specifically for stomach ulcers and acid indigestion. It reduces inflammation without causing the gastric damage that its synthetic offspring creates. The plant grows in a pot with consistent moisture. It produces clusters of creamy white flowers, and it prefers partial shade, perfect for a balcony that does not get full sun. Chamomile needs almost no introduction, but it deserves a reintroduction. Most people think of chamomile as a bedtime tea, something gentle, something mild, something your aunt drinks. But chamomile contains apigenin and bisabolol. These are not mild compounds. They relax the smooth muscle of the intestinal walls, they reduce spasms, they calm inflammation. German researchers have studied chamomile so extensively that it holds official medical monograph status in Germany as an approved treatment for gastrointestinal complaints. In many European countries, doctors prescribe chamomile tea before reaching for pharmaceutical antispasmodics. Walk through any German pharmacy. You will find chamomile preparations in the medicine section, not the tea section, the medicine section. One plant in a small pot produces dozens of flowers through the growing season. It self-seeds. It costs nothing to maintain. A single balcony pot provides enough chamomile for daily tea from spring through fall. Calendula is the bright orange flower you have seen in 1,000 gardens without knowing what it does inside the body. The petals contain compounds called triterpenoids and flavonoids that promote healing of damaged mucosal tissue throughout the gut. Calendula has been used internally for gastritis, stomach ulcers, and inflamed intestinal lining. It also carries mild antimicrobial properties that help rebalance the bacterial environment in the gut. The common name is pot marigold. The word pot does not refer to a flower pot. It refers to a cooking pot. European farming families grew calendula in kitchen gardens for centuries and tossed the petals into soups and stews. The plant was food and medicine at the same time. Calendula blooms constantly in a pot. Bright orange flowers all season long, tolerates poor soil, deadhead spent flowers, and it keeps producing until frost. 9 plants in, and you already have a gut coating system and a natural anti-inflammatory arsenal sitting on your balcony. But here's where it gets more interesting. The next group targets something most supplements completely ignore: the actual bacterial environment inside your intestines. And the first plant in this group is one that most Americans spend money trying to kill, while the French spend money trying to eat. Dandelion. Every spring across North America, millions of homeowners spray herbicide on dandelions. They poison them, they dig them out, they curse them. Lawn care companies charge $40 to $60 per treatment to eradicate them. In France, those same plants are called pissenlit. French families eat the young leaves in salads dressed with olive oil and mustard vinaigrette. They roast the roots and brew them into a coffee substitute. Market vendors in Paris and Lyon sell bundles of fresh dandelion greens at spring farmers markets. They consider it a seasonal delicacy. The root is rich in inulin, a prebiotic fiber that selectively feeds the bifidobacteria and lactobacillus species that your gut depends on. These are the same bacterial strains that probiotic supplement companies charge $30 to $50 a bottle to deliver. Dandelion root feeds the ones you already have, for free. It also stimulates bile production, which improves how your body digests fats. The entire plant is usable. Roots for prebiotic fiber and bile support, leaves for vitamins and minerals, flowers for antioxidants. It grows anywhere, in anything with no help. It is the most indestructible plant on this entire list. Put it in a pot, and it will thank you by never dying. Burdock root takes the prebiotic function even further. In Japan, they call it gobo. Walk into any grocery store in Tokyo or Osaka, and you will find burdock root stacked alongside carrots and onions. It is a daily vegetable, sliced thin, sautéed, added to soups and stir-fries. Hundreds of millions of people in East Asia eat it as food, not medicine. The root contains inulin in even higher concentrations than dandelion, up to 50% of the dry root weight. Japanese researchers have documented its measurable effects on gut microbiome composition. In the West, it is either completely unknown or sold in capsule form at a markup that would make a Tokyo grocer laugh. Burdock grows in a deep pot because the taproot needs room. First year you get leaves. Second year you harvest the root. It requires patience. But the result is a prebiotic powerhouse that the Japanese have been eating every day for longer than most Western countries have existed. Globe artichoke is the next one, and most people only know half of it. You eat the heart at dinner. You dip the leaves in butter. But the real gut healing power is in the large outer leaves that restaurants throw away. Artichoke leaves contain cynurin and chlorogenic acid. These compounds stimulate bile flow from the liver and protect the cells that produce it. Increased bile production directly improves how you digest fats and reduces the bloating and gas and discomfort that follow a heavy meal. European clinical trials have shown artichoke leaf extract reduces irritable bowel syndrome symptoms by up to 40%. Ancient Romans and Greeks considered the artichoke a digestive luxury. In modern Italy, families still drink carciofo, a bitter artichoke liqueur, after a large meal, not for pleasure, for function. The plant grows beautifully in a large pot on a balcony, dramatic silvery green leaves, architectural form. Even if you never harvest the flower bud, the leaves alone provide the medicinal value. Fenugreek is one of the oldest cultivated plants in human history. Archaeologists found fenugreek seeds in the tomb of Tutankhamun in Egypt. The seeds contain galactomannan, a soluble fiber that forms a gel inside the digestive tract, similar to mucilage but with an additional prebiotic function. It slows sugar absorption and it feeds beneficial bacteria. It has also been shown to reduce acid reflux symptoms. In India, fenugreek is called methi. Indian mothers give methi to new mothers after birth to support digestion and milk production. This is not alternative medicine. This is a tradition spanning thousands of years across a country of 1.4 billion people. Fenugreek grows fast from seed in any pot. The leaves are edible as greens. The seeds are harvested and dried. It is an easy annual that goes from planting to harvest in a single season. Fennel. Walk into any Indian restaurant anywhere in the world. Look at the counter near the register. There is a small bowl filled with colorful seeds. Most Western diners assume it is candy or decoration. It is neither. Those are fennel seeds coated in sugar. Fennel contains anethole, a compound that relaxes the smooth muscle of the intestinal walls and reduces bloating and gas. Indian families have chewed fennel seeds after meals for longer than anyone can trace. Mediterranean civilizations did the same. In pediatric medicine, fennel tea is one of the very few herbal remedies considered gentle enough for infant colic. That tells you something about its safety profile. A remedy trusted for newborns works just as well for adults. Fennel grows tall in a deep pot. Every part is usable. The bulb, the fronds, the seeds, let it flower and it self-seeds for next year. 14 plants. Your balcony now has a coating system, an anti-inflammatory arsenal, and a bacterial feeding program. But your gut also has a nervous system. It is sometimes called the second brain. Over 500 million nerve cells line the digestive tract. When those nerves are agitated, when stress or anxiety or tension puts them into overdrive, the gut goes into spasm. Nothing else works properly when that happens. The next group calms the nervous system down. And one of these plants is so effective at it that hospitals across Europe have used it for acute digestive crises. Peppermint. The menthol in peppermint leaves directly relaxes the smooth muscle of the gastrointestinal tract. This is not folklore. This is one of the most clinically validated herbal effects in modern medicine. Enteric-coated peppermint oil capsules are recommended by gastroenterologists for irritable bowel syndrome. They reduce abdominal pain, they reduce bloating, they reduce the urgency that disrupts daily life. But those capsules are just concentrated peppermint. The fresh leaf contains the same compound. You could walk out to your balcony, pick 6 leaves, pour hot water over them, and in 5 minutes have a remedy that gastroenterologists charge a consultation fee to recommend. Ancient Egyptian medical texts reference mint for stomach complaints. Every traditional medicine system that had access to mint used it for the gut. Peppermint grows aggressively in a pot on any balcony, almost too aggressively. It spreads. It fills every inch of soil. It sends runners over the edge of the pot looking for new territory. It does not ask permission. One pot provides unlimited fresh peppermint for tea and cooking and direct gut relief throughout the entire growing season and into fall if the weather cooperates. Lemon balm is peppermint's quieter relative, and it targets a problem that peppermint does not. Stress-driven digestion. The kind of stomach pain that arrives when your mind will not stop racing. The nausea that shows up before a difficult conversation. The cramping that follows a bad night of sleep. Lemon balm contains rosmarinic acid, which calms the nervous system, and by extension calms the gut that the nervous system controls. Medieval monks grew it in monastery gardens across Europe for exactly this purpose. It grows like a weed in any pot. It has lemon-scented leaves. It makes an exceptional calming tea. It comes back stronger every year without replanting. Caraway seeds are hidden in plain sight across Central and Northern European cooking. Every loaf of traditional rye bread, every proper batch of sauerkraut, every Hungarian goulash. The seeds contain carvone and limonene. These are compounds that relieve bloating, reduce intestinal gas, and promote healthy digestive motility. German researchers studied caraway in combination with peppermint oil and found the combination more effective than pharmaceutical antispasmodics for functional dyspepsia. That finding should have changed everything. It did not. The pharmaceutical version still outsells the plants. It cannot outperform. Pre-modern European cooks already knew this. They put caraway in heavy dishes not because of the flavor, because the seeds prevented the bloating that heavy food causes. The knowledge was in the recipe all along. Caraway grows easily in a pot. It is a biennial, producing seeds in its second year. It is cold hardy and completely low maintenance. Dill is another one hiding in the recipe book. The next time you see a jar of pickles, look at the sprig floating in the brine. That is not there for aesthetics. Dill contains monoterpenes that relax intestinal smooth muscle and reduce gas. Dill water, also called gripe water, has been given to babies with colic for centuries across Europe and the Middle East. It is gentle enough for a newborn. It is effective enough that the tradition survived 1,000 years of medical advancement without anyone replacing it. The herb appears in Egyptian tombs. It is referenced in the Bible. Persian and Scandinavian and Eastern European and Middle Eastern cuisines all depend on it. Every one of those cultures understood its digestive role. Dill grows fast from seed in any pot. Feathery green foliage, let it flower, and it self-seeds for the following year. Licorice root is the 19th plant, and it does something specific that sets it apart. It stimulates mucus production in the stomach lining. Not mucilage from outside like marshmallow root, but mucus from inside your own protective layer, thickened and reinforced by a plant compound called glycyrrhizin. A modified form called DGL is sometimes used to help soothe the stomach, but it cannot legally or safely be claimed to perform at the same level as pharmaceutical acid blockers for treating medical stomach ulcers. In traditional Chinese medicine, licorice root appears in more classical formulas than any other single plant. Chinese herbalists call it the Great Harmonizer because it balances and supports every other herb it is combined with. It has been prescribed for digestive conditions across China, India, and the Middle East for at least 4,000 years. 3 continents, 4 millennia, 1 root. It grows in a deep pot. It takes patience because the root is harvested in the 3rd year, but the plant is perennial. Once established, it becomes a permanent fixture on your balcony, a slow investment that pays forever. 19 plants, 1 balcony, a coating system, an anti-inflammatory arsenal, a prebiotic feeding program, a bile stimulator, a spasm-calming pharmacy. But there is one more, and this last plant does something none of the others do. It works on both ends of the gut-brain connection simultaneously. St. John's wort. Most people know it for mood support. That reputation is deserved, but it is incomplete. The compounds in this plant, hypericin and hyperforin, have anti-inflammatory effects on the intestinal lining itself, but they also calm the central nervous system that sends stress signals down to the gut. When the brain is calmer, the gut heals faster. This is not poetic language. This is the gut-brain axis, a bidirectional communication highway between your intestines and your head that modern gastroenterology has spent the last 2 decades trying to understand. European herbalists figured it out over 2,000 years ago with nothing but observation and patience. Hippocrates documented it. Paracelsus prescribed it. The plant is named for the feast of St. John on the 24th of June, when it traditionally blooms across European meadows. Bright yellow flowers on a hardy stem that tolerates poor soil, drought, and neglect. It thrives in a pot on a balcony. It represents the final piece of the puzzle, the connection between your gut and your mind addressed by a single plant that has been waiting in the fields for centuries while the pharmaceutical industry sold you the 2 halves separately. Now step back and look at what just happened. 20 plants, 5 complete functions, coating the gut lining, reducing inflammation, feeding beneficial bacteria and stimulating bile, calming spasms and relaxing the enteric nervous system, and bridging the gap between gut and brain. Together, these 20 plants address every major mechanism that the digestive health industry targets with its $68 billion in annual supplement sales. A single balcony, even a small one, can hold all 20 in containers. Some share pots, some stack vertically on shelves, some hang from railings, the peppermint in a hanging basket, the aloe on the sunny corner, the turmeric and ginger in deep pots against the warm wall, the chamomile and calendula flowering together in a long trough, the dandelion growing in whatever container you forgot about. The physical footprint is smaller than the shelf space most people dedicate to supplement bottles in their bathroom cabinet. The total cost of seeds and starter plants for all 20 is roughly what you would pay for 60 days of a premium gut health supplement subscription. The subscription expires every month, and the plants come back every year. Some of them come back stronger. This is not conspiracy. This is economics. Companies fund what they can patent, and they market what they can mark up. A plant that grows on a balcony and returns every spring cannot be patented. It cannot be controlled. It cannot generate recurring subscription revenue. A bottle of turmeric capsules sells for $25 and lasts 30 days. A turmeric rhizome in a pot costs $3 and lasts forever. A bottle of peppermint oil capsules sells for $18. A peppermint plant in a pot costs $2 and produces more oil than you could use in a year. The math is simple. The business model depends on you not doing it. The knowledge about these plants existed for centuries across every culture on Earth. Indian grandmothers brew turmeric into golden milk. Greek grandmothers dry chamomile on the windowsill. Japanese families slice burdock root for dinner. French families eat dandelion greens in spring. Mexican families chew fennel seeds. Ethiopian mothers stir fenugreek into stews for new mothers. Korean families have used these plants so long that the traditions have no origin story. They simply always were. The knowledge was never hidden. It was just never profitable to share. The supplement aisle replaced the garden. The capsule replaced the tea. The brand name replaced the plant name. 3 generations grew up reaching for a bottle instead of reaching for the soil. Not because anyone lied to them, but because the system that sells bottles has a marketing budget and the garden does not. But you know now. You know the plants, you know the mechanisms, you know that coating, inflammation, bacteria, bile, and nerve calming are not 5 separate problems requiring 5 separate supplements. They are 5 functions that 20 plants have performed together on balconies and in kitchen gardens for longer than modern medicine has existed. Your grandmother did not call it a gut healing protocol. She called it the garden. She brewed chamomile when your stomach hurt. She chewed fennel seeds after a heavy meal. She made dandelion tea in spring, dried calendula petals in summer, and hung peppermint in the kitchen doorway. She did not read a clinical trial. She did not need to. The knowledge came from her mother. Who got it from her mother? Who got it from hers? Somewhere along the way, the chain broke. The garden became a lawn. The tea became a capsule. The knowledge became a product. 20 plants, 1 balcony, a pharmacy that replants itself, costs almost nothing, and works the same way it worked for the people who first discovered it. Centuries before anyone tried to put it in a capsule and sell it back to you, the plants do not care who sells them. They do not care who forgot them. They just grow. They have been growing for thousands of years, and if you give them a pot and a little water, they will grow for you too.